Hey, Mr. Byron, how's it, bro? Hope you're good. I keep
Lekker
good stories.
man.
Me and
Always,
Byron, we're gonna talk. Yeah,
So jy weet dit gaan altyd alright met my. If I'm gonna complain then I'm gonna sit with a problem.
I do agree with you. I do agree with you. But we want to talk about the looting tonight and
Mm,
what has been happening, not only in KwaZulu
mm,
Natal, but right across. You had a very interesting point earlier on, but we can bring
mm,
that in later on about
mm.
poverty and what and how poverty plays a role. But I think today many businesses they lost a lot of money. A lot of people lost their
Exactly.
jobs because of this looting. A lot of
Mm,
companies, remember, businesses were closed for 2 weeks, on level
that's
four.
right.
So for 2 weeks, they didn't make any money. And all of a sudden, businesses open on Sunday, but then the businesses are being looted. Businesses are being
Mm,
destroyed. So it's
mm,
costing these business owners millions of rands to get back into the economy now because now you have a KwaZulu Natal that is ripped apart. It looks like the tornado went through there. If you look at the pictures, if you look at
mm.
media footage, you can see really people were helping themselves. So I don't know how you feel about this, Byron. Maybe we should start and just see, where this
Look,
topic is going.
look, we need to get down to the point. So we can obviously see that this is kind of politically driven also in some sense also, but you need to also evaluate the people that's doing these things. They are poverty stricken people that's been manipulated, brainwashed all their life, tribal type of people which believe that this guy is a type of chief. But we don't want to stick there. There's gangsters involved, there's people in between. So we need to also take in perspective what is happening here. Why are people dying? It's someone said, I'm so embarrassed. I hope they try it in the Western Cape. We must shoot them. You see, I understand where your pain come from and where you shoot them and stuff like that. But yet we get people mocking, making memes and say this is their way of dealing with stuff. But actually, we hurting ourselves as a nation. Look at this the pandemic when it started. Yeah, I'm gonna jokes mark about yeah, COVID is not so serious. It's a conspiracy and all these things. Okay, this is more blatant, it's out there, but the thing is, we mock every little thing instead of bringing solutions as a country. Then people say it's not my fault, but sodra dit by jou doorstep kom, man, wil sy sê kom ons staan reg met 'n gun. I don't know how you feel about that, Stanley, but we need to take in perspective. These are brainwashed people. Yet, yes, with some hooligans in between, but people that's hungry. First of all, you say to me, you saw a grandma. For hoe gaan 'n grandma dood? Sy's honger. Sy's
Yes,
honger.
yeah.
What is a grandma's? What is a mindset being there to loot, to take food and stuff like that? We mock this guy that ate a piece of cake. Yes, it seems funny and stuff like that. It's a joke, but it's not a joke. If you really look at the perspective and the mentality of that person, yes, they are criminals. I'm not taking away of any of that. Yes, they are hooligans. And people can say they're going to have to be killed. But who are you to judge to kill someone, first of all? I'm not saying don't protect your place, but we need to find solutions moving forward in the future and not saying these are how we handle stuff. Yes, we know we don't have the proper government governing us, but as a nation, we run this place. As a nation, we should stand together in the end of the day. But ons mense, en ek gaan dit sê, white, black, colored, Indian, whoever you are quickly to jump and blame the next race. This is going to be a race, oh my friend, in the end of the day. If we really look at the pictures, people are going to manipulate this thing in the next level.
I think that is already what is happening. If you look at the different groups of people fighting each other,
Mm,
it's definitely starting to look like something that is going to turn into a race. And the problem is this: the problem that I have, we don't have government or officials that is equipped to handle the situation. The situation, they don't know how to handle it. Tonight, the president spoke. I don't know what he said. I don't know if you could, there was nothing. All he said is they can have more officials coming from leave now and being executed or being back into their positions as law enforcement officers. But
mm,
that does not solve the problem. You
mm,
see, Byron, let's just go back, just step back quickly a couple of years back. Before the pandemic happened,
mm,
that same guy that we are fighting for now to be released, just think about it. When he took over, everything went out of control. The gang violence, everything, crime went out of control. Now we're fighting for this guy to bring him. He must be released for what is done. He himself said, if somebody is a criminal, and if somebody is found guilty of crime, they should go to court and they should, defend himself because it's a constitutional right. Now that he's in prison and he has to defend himself. Now it's
Mm.
not okay anymore. Now people are fighting for him to be released. But it goes back. It goes back to all those years of not creating jobs, not making sure we have a good education system. We were
Mm.
looking after ourselves all these years. Now all that is showing nothing has been done in the last 27 years. And that is where I come from. It didn't start yesterday. It has been an ongoing thing, but nothing has been done to rectify this problem that we are currently sitting with.
Yeah, no, you're right. But think about this, Stanley, quickly. We gave over a nation to people that was raised in tribes. There were chiefs. Mandela was a chief. Zuma is also a chief on his side. And what does that say to yourself? Helen Ziller wrote an article, and I slightly agree and slightly disagree with her, where she said, yes, the man must go to jail and all these things. But if you understand the character of the man, also, these people will follow him to death because this is the way they
That,
grow up. It's their culture.
that's
We don't understand it. We took over from apartheid government, which was westernized run, and the constitution wasn't a tribal way of running things. That's why these people understand to the core. These people will fight to the death because they still believe this guy has liberated them. This guy has given them freedom and given them opportunities. This guy was one of those people. Imagine nou vandag Ashley Kriel gaan tronk toe. Laat ek gou vir jou ietsie sê. En Ashley Kriel het miskien geloot, maar die hele tyd baklei vir die colored mense. Nou ons gaan nou sê, oh, hy moet tronk toe gaan vir wat verkeerd is. But take it now, he's maybe 75, and I don't want to bring it in because I'm respect and I follow that guy, and that was one of my heroes. But how would the uprising have been the same, or would it have been also maybe similar? What do you think?
I think man, looking at it today. Okay, let me just start looking at it today. I don't know that time, but I know now. I don't think Ashley would have had a lot of support. Like if you look at our people,
Hmm.
if a colored person from our community has a protest, nobody supports it. Whenever,
Hmm.
and I'm not talking down on our people. I'm just talking realistically. If we do
Exactly.
something in our community where we need help, our people are not going to stand with. I promise you, you can have the best ideas. That's unfortunately something that is intergenerational. I don't know from which open home it comes from, but it is something that we have for many years that we don't support each other. So I don't think
Hmm.
our people would have, a lot of people would have supported him. There's a lot of politicians out there now fighting for our people, but they're not being well supported. However, I do understand from his point of view, when you are a chief or somebody big in your community, especially in that, when it comes to the Zulu tribe, you are being respected. People are going to
Hmm.
fight for you. People are going to protect you. That's
Exactly.
unfortunately what's happening. So I do understand to a certain point, but we're living in a world where we have a government where the government should actually govern,
Yes.
not not outsiders, because now we have different laws and different rules. This is exactly what is happening in Britain as well, but we don't want to go there. So
Hmm.
we need to look at how do we govern without being told from the outside how to govern.
Hmm. No, you're right. The problem I have, Stanley, with this thing is also, and I want to go to some of the comments because net om vir jou te wys wat op mense se mindset en wat mense dink. I want you to just flash through some of the comments if you can. So laat ons net 'n opportunity want ons almal ons het hierdie solutions hier. Ons is
We
maar
don't
net
have
hier. Ons kan ons mond warm praat. Ons kan heeldag oor die storie praat. Net so die president nou gedoen het gesê het we are building a economy. Wat 'n economy? Die economy is besig om te collapse.
Mankala.
Please shoot him. No one have the right. Cyril is not president. Please shoot him. No one have the right to loot. Yes, brainwash. Yeah, you see. But you still stand strong. Cyril is not president or leader. Just wasted 30 minutes of our time while the country is on fire. Useless, wasted speech. Said Foucault. He said nothing. I agree with that. People go
Said
enough
nothing.
is enough. This delayed response is government being scary. I totally agree with that. Not to remember to what we need to think. Nou gaan ek terug. Jou was someone say Soraya said the grandma bought a six pack. There was not only one grandma, and
It's true.
these ons nou ons ingaan. People will loot because everything is valuable. Alcohol is valuable during this time to resell. TVs are valuable to resell. All these things are valuable things to these people. Now what we're doing at the moment, we are standing up, which is right, because the cops are not there to stand up for us. But here comes the catch in Stanley. I'm gonna say it again. This is gonna be a race war in the end of the day, you know, because people are now saying, "I'm going for those white shops. I'm going for those state-owned shops." This is what
Yes.
they think is they're trying to get the government's attention, and it's kind of a race war. And who do you see shoot these looters? There was a title now the other day. What goes to your mind? White and Indian standing together to shoot thugs. Who are thugs? You're only speaking now about another race that you're shooting
Yeah.
there. This thing, my friend, is gonna escalate if people don't put their mind together as a
Yeah.
community, to put their mind together, not just to put their guns together. Because yes, it's maklik om te skiet. It's easy to defend your house. I'm telling you now that people can say, yeah, it takes a brave man to defend his house. No, no, no. It takes a coward to take a life. It takes a brave man to capture maybe these people and to not understand and put them in prison and stuff. And I know it's not the easiest thing to do. But imagine, ek gaan nou hier in die Weskaap sit, we are making a mockery about this thing. Imagine it happens at your doorstep. Imagine it happens to you, Stanley, and your family at this very moment, right? Or let's put in perspective, you and your family grew up in a tribe, Stanley, and you have so much respect for this person as a Christian, has a respect for Jesus. And I don't want to say it like that. These
Mm.
are these people look at their leaders, they see them as this person that's going to lead them to a promised land in the end of the day. Now, you tell me quickly, these are hungry people, being manipulated all their life. They know nothing else but to follow, combat, lead, and eat, and they're not working. Nothing. There's no. How can I say academic intelligence behind it? So, can we start to understand these people, or should we just kill? That's my question. The way everybody's saying.
We say this is a democratic country, right? So people died for our democratic rights. So now to kill somebody, it doesn't add up. You can't just kill somebody. It is not going to fix the situation. It's not going to fix anything. We need
Mm.
to, first of all, we need to take this country back. That is the bottom line. We can sit here, but education doesn't start actually in government as well. It starts amongst community members. It starts amongst us, colored, white, black, Indian, all of us standing together, fighting what's currently happening in this country. It's no use we're gonna say, you know what, kill them. That is
Yeah.
somebody's mother. That's somebody's father. Those people have family members that will come back. It will just be a continuous thing where you will fight
Exactly.
and fight and fight. How will we fix this? We fix this by fixing our communities, by, let's see, like you said now, Byron, you said something very nice. We are now labeling people. We are labeling
Yes, they're
black people. We
labeling.
are labeling colored people. We are
That's right.
labeling everybody. Like they will say,
Mm.
the colored people don't stand together. I do agree to a certain point because I
Yes.
do know that. But don't tell us we don't stand together. Why don't we, as black, colored, whites, and Indians, stand together? Let's change that narrative instead of
That's
you
right.
race. We are not a race anymore. We are South Africans. We need to realize that our economy depends on us,
Mm.
solely on us.
Mm. You're right. Look at this, Stanley. We grew up in the Cape Flats. We know what it is poverty stricken with our people. So in the Cape Flats, we know gangsters. We know people that's poor that goes and rob houses, even just for a 50 cent or for a 1 rand. They go in to break into a house to get that fix or get money in between or sell a globe or sell anything, hit out your window just for something. This is how hungry they are. One guy said they don't say black people are things. This is Africa. Black people only before you get so far. I said other people are calling certain people thugs. And this is where race war is going to start. We haven't labeled anybody. We're saying people are starting to label each other, which is going to affect and it's going to start a race war, a civil war, as you might say, in this country. But someone now also said, where do we start? Jonathan asked, where do we start? My friend, that is a puzzling question. The president don't know where to start. These people that started this looting doesn't even know where to start. This was out of control type of looting that happened also. One started, two started, five, a mob started, and they all just followed. I mean, these are people that's flipping hungry. And then you get people that's scared, that's a bit more educated, that's a bit more well settled. Let's call it a little bit more privileged. Now they are trying to protect what they have, trying to protect their material things. But yet, I'm telling you, Stanley, this is going to hit over into a war. Do you think Julius is not going to feed off this as a political arena? Do you think he's not
This
going to
is
gather? Do you think he's not
no.
going to
They are
gather
gonna.
of Zuma's tribe and he's going to say, "I'm standing with you guys. They are being racist or whatever." Do you think the
Yeah,
DA might not even step in and see where their voters
yeah,
are, or they're going to come? It's up to the people in South Africa to now say,
yes,
how do we find a
yes.
solution? Because the government's not running, y'all. None of these political parties are running, y'all. They are trying to find a solution to get more votes for them. They don't give two shits. They are sitting behind their cozy, comforting, high paid jobs without matric,
Mhm.
without
Yeah,
qualifications, I would say it. All of them. And there's people out there that have studied, done all the right things, but go to jail. I made that example last time also. When you do the right thing in this country, so you somehow get a slap in the face. When you do the wrong thing, you get away. Why? Because our system is corrupt and messed up. This is why people can loot. This is why they arrest people at night that drives the 15 minutes past 9 out of their house because of a curfew. This is where fear and control comes in. They fear those looters because those they know those people's mentality is not the same as those people that been educated. They fear people on the Cape Flats that's not educated because they know this person will just kill because he's hungry. That's why the Cape Flats has not been
mhm.
cleaned also. This country is run by a bunch of criminals, and I'll say it in their faces because they are heartless, cruel people. So whoever works in the political arena, as soon as you climb in there and you did not step out after a month, that means you've sold yourself to not step onto a next level, but to greed and take out and to manipulate people because that's what the narcissist does. He manipulates you, he feeds you, and he takes again.
True, true. Baron, I just want to comment on these two. Saida says here, we can fix this by unseat our current president so that someone better equipped to rule in all fairness. Saida, there isn't anybody better currently in that party. I promise you. They took Tapo Beki out. Then they replaced him with Zuma. And then they replaced him with Cyril Ramaphosa. I don't
Mm.
think anything is going to happen if we replace him. We need new management. That is what we need. So that is my personal opinion, and people might differ from that. But I just want to talk about this quickly. Somebody said something here that actually bothers me. That we still think like this. Mercedes said something. You all in white don't treat us as South Africans, so please don't play innocent. I disagree with that. Once again we label every colored person, not to like black people, and that is where the problem starts. Get to know people. It's not about not trusting or not treating you like South.
Sorry, Stanley, we lost you there. I don't know if it's myself that was logged out.
There we go.
Okay, I think I
Byron, are
lost
you
you
there?
there. Yeah. I don't know if you lost me or I lost you. You were saying?
Okay. I think we lost Byron for a while there. Byron, are you there? Okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
There we go. So let's not say we don't treat you. You haven't met me. You can't say every colored person treat black people bad. It's not true. The same with white people. You can't like say every white person treats black people or colored people. We all are different. Yes, you get racist people in every race, but we
Mm.
need to think differently. If we don't think differently, we're gonna sit with the same problem down the line. And even so, in 5 years' time, there might be no South Africa.
Mm. And I like what he said. He said, "Who the fuck? Who the hell are you? Both? Fuck y'all, all of y'all." You see, that comes with, and you can pop it up so people can understand the thinking and the
Um,
mentality. And I forgive you for saying that because in the end
yeah.
of the day, my friend, you have to also understand. And I can't help it, but it's the leaders and the people that you have. And yes, there's no innocent people, no matter what what race they are. They all are that in leadership are in it for themselves. And unfortunately, we get manipulated. Then we get another puppet up there. Let's get a colored guy, put him up there. Other colored guys are going to fully feed off him. He's now their savior. Let's just manipulate them. Let's get someone in the DA that can be a face for more attraction out of other areas. Let's get someone that's been a political fighter and say follow him. So I feel sorry that you said, who the fuck are you both? And maybe you'll know me today. It's Stanley and Byron. So hopefully you know our names from here on forward. So for us, it's always about finding a solution and perspective on things. If we're going to continue to fight on these things. If we're gonna
Mm.
continue to fight each other, and unfortunately, this country is gonna burn to pieces. This country is gonna be on its knees. You must understand, we've been ruled in the westernized mentality all our life with all our resources, with everything we have. You must understand, the people that lead us as tyrants, and I call them tyrants in the sense of they're just doing it more subtly in this modern day and age, where they are dictators in their own right, in their own way. Stanley said it perfectly. Now you can take that president off. Who are you gonna put there? Who are you gonna put there now? You need to reshuffle the whole cabinet. You need to bring in fresh minds, new thinkers. You need to take these people emotionally, mentally strong people. All those people that sitting in cabinet as probably people that fought in the past, people that have hatred, people that carry over hatred. This is generations of trauma that's running through people. But yet we don't understand this in the Cape Flats with colors, in the white Caucasian areas, in the Indian areas, in the other races, in the black Zulu Xhosa areas also. It's generations of misled. It's just to keep power. The ANC, the DA, no matter who they are, they're feeding off you guys, and it's still the race thing. And you guys are not getting the grips of it because your mentality is not there. Because you're hungry, some of you. You are fighting for a better job, or you're just making a living. So you're an angry person. So now you need to protect what you have, my friend. I'm sitting here today. If you lose a health or your a life, this world comes to an end. And you need to understand that and get that in your brain. It's easy to take a life, but to understand that your life can be taken, and mocking about the situation will knock you guys each day. I'm telling you now, there's no one fit yet in this country that I know of that can run this country. But I know as a collective, this country can run itself. This country can run each other. And yes, we need to reshuffle. The whole cabinet must be cleaned. The whole DA, the mentality in that DA must be cleaned out. You can't have people that it's like when you're at the workplace, a soccer team, let's make an example. They let players go dead wood because the morale gets lost when the one person has a mentality the one way. It gets affected. The bad apple gets onto other apples and it makes it rotten. Unfortunately, it's gonna have to have a whole clean out. This is the only way I can think of a solution, because I don't think there is a prominent hero out there. I know there's people like that wants to make like they're fighting for you. No, they're fighting what you want. They're not fighting what you need. They're fighting what you want. There's a big difference. When we say what we want, I want land. I want my own apartment. I want this. I want work. My friend, no one is entitled in the whole world, go across the whole globe. No one's entitled to jack shit. You work for what you need, you go for what you want, but you need to change this thing, the mentality. And unfortunately, years and years and years of brainwash is killing our people. Black, white, colored, Indian, no matter what you are, Portuguese, whoever is living here, that's the trauma that's going on in the white brain, the colored gray brain, and the Indian brain. We need to understand also, to get to grips, that we need to also evaluate ourselves and say, what trauma am I going through? Why am I so angry at the white person? Why am I so angry at the black person? Why am I so angry at the colored person? What trauma is happening in my head? And that's what we're not doing.
Byron, you mentioned something very profound. They make as if they fight for us, right? So this is the thing. The moment they get your vote and they get into parliament, they get a nice salary. They get a
Hmm.
nice, salary, nice medical aid. They are sorted. That's where they forget about you. You see, what we need in communities, we need to identify leaders.
Hmm.
Not everybody's a leader. Not everybody can lead a community. Not everybody. People nowadays, if you look at all those pop-up politicians coming up nowadays, it's all for them to get money and to find a place. We need men and women that are ready to work in communities. This is not something that is going to go away. Even when you vote in a new party, it's not going to go away. It's still going to be there. These are
Hmm.
things that had to be fixed. Many years ago, we had the church, we had the mosque, we had all those religious institutions, with all those organizations in the communities. They didn't do their job. If you look at our communities, you have 200 churches in one community. You know, these churches are not effective. If these churches were effective, they would have worked with schools. You see, what needs to happen is you need to change people's mindsets. And how do you do that?
Okay.
You do it by what they believe in the religious institution. You do it at school. and then you do it in the communities. So you have to come up with a new plan to not I wouldn't say indoctrinate, but to change people's mind to think out of the box, because we have people, and this is exactly where we're going, especially on the Cape Flats. You have youngsters at the age of 13, 14 years old. They are dropouts. They don't think out of the box. They just think for now, and they become the dangerous people that we're currently speaking about. So it's no use we can change things. Government replace them. Things are also going to have to start changing in our communities. We as people are going to have to change things. I promise you. What the ANC did that years, they fought for our freedom, yes, but they never had a plan to take this country to the next level. They never had a plan to sort of fix things that are currently broken in this country. We're still running on the old government system, only with new management is all. So nothing has really changed. And how do we change this thing? We need a party, not a party that's going to come into power, make money, start businesses, and forget about us. We need a party that has the people at heart, first of all, and then we fix this country together. This is not something that you can fix on your own. And like you say, Byron, I like what you say. You are being very honest about the DA and other politicians. They're
Yeah.
using this type of ammunition to get votes. Now I can also like the quite. I said this last month. I'm done with politicians. I have stepped away from that. We've interviewed them. A lot of them are bullshitters. We need
Exactly.
people that are for the people, not people that wants money or a place, in government. We need people that can run this country, and we don't have it. We don't have it.
And that's unfortunate. And there's a lot of well-educated and a lot of people like to bullshit around. And I'm gonna tell you now, I'm always the one to tell people that you can do anything in life without education. But unfortunately, if you're gonna run a country and run certain sectors of the country, if you're gonna be in agriculture, you should know agriculture from top to bottom. If you're gonna be in the police force, you should know from top to bottom your country and what's going on in what neighborhoods. You should study it from top to bottom. So this is where studies is quite important. It might in today's day and age tell you, yes, you don't need the qualifications, you don't need this, you can do anything in life because of this technology. But unfortunately, if you're not educated in those departments, you can't run it. So we are being run by people that's mixed up. Today the energy minister is, tomorrow the agriculture minister, tomorrow is some other the bloody other minister. How does that work? Did he get his degrees in those things? So you are setting an example to the country to say, well, you don't need the degree, you just need to know somebody and I can get you in the job. This is why people that don't know anybody sit without a job, and slim kop sonder 'n degree of sonder iets sit in a job and he's sitting there and he's telling everybody, oh well, I got this job because I'm so good at what I do. But you work someone else out of the job because of favoritism, nepotism. Now I'm going to tell you one thing, how our country is being run at the moment. We are run by a couple of tyrants, people that's also, how can I say, insecure, but narcissistic, and believe that they are the people to take the country to the next level. Do you think President Ramaphosa is well aware that he's running this country to the shit? Yes. But do you think that he's thinking he's not doing a good job? He thinks he's doing a brilliant job, because this is what a narcissist does. Do you think the people in just John Steenhuisen think he's the next best thing? If you ever hear him speak, he speaks with so much confidence on other people, because that's what you do as a tyrant, to deflect from your solutions. You never hear solutions, you always hear about the next person complaining, and that's what you call a scapegoat. Now these poor people are scapegoats, and they should be apprehended, they should be brought to law and justice, but they're being used as scapegoats. And who's the next scapegoat? The people that's defending themselves. They are the next scapegoats. So we are still being run by dictatorship by all our political parties, because hulle almal is uitgevreet. Let's put it like that.
Byron, and we're allowing this. You know what?
Yeah.
Because I work in the community, I know what's exactly happening. That politician comes there with the blikkie kos, with some of the empathy, and with a t-shirt. They give it to you. And now you feel he cares for you. But you will only see him maybe once a year or every 5 years. Nothing is really being done. They're using us. They're using us to stay in power. We need to think different. We've been telling ourselves that we are not clever enough. This is what I have with our elderly folks. I still have problems, but I'll talk about that again. Since the day they removed us from District 6, Constanza, those places, that is where we were supposed to stand together. That is where we were supposed to say, but we're not going to allow people to push us down anymore. So now because we all went our different ways, we have allowed these people to once again to sort of contradict or to sort of dictate how we live and how we talk and what we do. We need to put an end to this. And how do we put an end to this? Is to have, ek verstaan, julle is honger, vat hulle kos. It's fine. But don't think they're doing it because they love you. Don't think they're doing it because they care about you. All they care about is them living in nice houses. Hulle bly in kwai huise in. Hulle kinders gaan by kwai skole. I don't even want to talk about our education system. Our education system, nationally and locally, val deur sy moer. It val deur sy moer. Our children, if you compare education, we don't even have people anymore that can teach our children. So we have a big problem, and we must stop allowing these people to tell us, who to vote for and who to, like you said now, they only come into our areas. And what we so quite mark is you have colored people, colored youngsters, colored people covering up for these people, for these politicians. Now this is the best party. Stop telling people who to vote for. Let people start seeing on the fruit and how you guys work in the communities. That's the only way how we vote for people. Stop telling people what to do. I think that is the biggest problem that we are experiencing, is people telling us what to do and what not to do.
No, but you're spot on. That is the problem we're sitting with, Stanley. We get people that's telling us what to do, but hier kom die vraag vir jou, Stanley. Why, hoekom is ons 'n colored mense en hoekom staan ons nie by mekaar nie? Vra jouself gou hy vraag. Ask yourself that very question. I grew up in District 6 was called as a community. It was called as people that love each other, that's there for each other. Where did the division start? I don't want to blame apartheid. I want to blame our mentality. How has it crept into our mentality to be so divided? But yet we scream out every day that we are divided. So we know the solution for us is to stand together. But why don't we stand together? So now, yes, people standing together, but it's totally lawless. Hoekom het ons nie hy krag saam in ons nie? Sê gou vir my hy vraag. This will give you an answer why people are looting and why people are standing together.
Dit is 'n baie goeie vraag wat jy my vra daar. And I'll just tell you something quickly. So when you go into our communities, daar's 'n klomp soup kitchens. Daar's 'n klomp organisations wat hy sê dat wat werk in Paarden. You've got one area where there's a lot of organizations. But I can't understand why can't these organizations work together, come up with a plan. It will help it will benefit the whole community. It's just something that is there where our people don't work together. It's so difficult. And once you start working together, that's where the politics starts. That's where people start fighting one another. And it's colored people, So this has been a problem. I don't know. I want to say government did that many years ago by indoctrinating our mind with division. But then again also, we shouldn't allow people to take our minds for their battlefields. We should do what we do what is right. We can't anymore live like zombies, people telling us what to do. What happened many years ago should have been stopped right there in its tracks by our forefathers, where they, took where they, look, I always can say this, we were the first people that got evicted from our properties, rightfully ours, right? Our mothers and fathers. And we were supposed to stand there, we were supposed to stand together. But many years later, we are still divided. And I don't know why it's still happening. I don't know. I can't answer you.
Okay, so it's a mentality thing. It's reaching for something. Let's put it like this. We've always been in the middle. Let's be honest to ourselves. Hoekom het ons ouers nog NP gevote back in the day? Because they were made fearful that if they're going to vote something else, no one's going to look after you. And people like to bring the notion up that the apartheid was better. No, the pie was smaller. Imagine, sy bly in 'n klein huisie in, of jy bly in iemand anders se yard en hulle sê hulle doen vir jou 'n favor when you're working yourself to the bone to death for that person. So you see, it's all about mentality and achievement. And nowadays, our colored people is in so much debt. And people that's been previously disadvantaged is in so much debt. Why? Because of that mentality. I need to achieve this. I need to get this. I never had this. Oh, I cannot decrease. Because that's why they make that difference about new money and old money. New money spent like no one's business. Old money knows, ek is gewoond aan die dinge. Now, we need to understand we still have that division in this country. Yes, foreigners come over, they go to camps where, oh, wow, Cape Town is so beautiful. Ry af in die pad af, and then you see, they go look nicely in Ocean View, Go around, ride around Musenberg side, and you go some Menenberg side around, and really see what's happening in this country. The only flippant time these DA members, ANC members, whoever does it, that's in Parliament, even EFF, is when they need votes, and this is the time to make them suffer and starve. If you really, really want to make a change, make them starve. When people starve, just like our hungry, poverty stricken people, they will rise up and make a change. The government will only make a change when you make a change by starving them. And I don't know if it means by no one voting. I don't know if it means by everybody saying they don't want to be ruled by any of these government. They want to start their own thing and finding a solution, and people coming with proposals to them, proper proposals as a country. There's many ways to find solutions, to find different leaders in this country, but the fat cats are not going to allow it. They're going to bump against it, and they're going to say there's a law that's in place. You need to work around this way, but they don't obey their own law. So it only works when it needs to work. Let's put it like that.
You see, Byron, I just want to come back, like you said now, if you look at the other side of the mountain, everything is sorted out here, right? So I don't have a problem. A lot of their people are investing a lot of money in their own communities because they are by the means to like do so. But this is my
Mhm.
problem. What has been done? We talk about for the last 27 years, the ANC has done nothing. Let's talk about what has the DA done in Cape Town for the last 16, 15 years when they were in charge. This is a
EMF.
travel and tourism business. This is a business where people can make a lot of money, or no, where people can make a living. Why haven't we capitalized on travel and tourism on the Cape Flats? Why haven't we given these people also a part of the pie? Yes, not a big piece, but there's also a piece for you. Let's just say let's keep the pavilion the way it used to be, where we could only go there during the apartheid era. So that's a historical place. Let's keep the place, just maintain it, make it nice, for tourists to come there. Use that place to sort of get travel and tourism attraction. Then we can tell our stories. But why have these places been thrown down? It's because we are not allowed to have businesses. That is what I see. We're not allowed to be independent because once we are independent on this side of the Cape Flats, we don't need that people anymore. And that is just how I feel. And politics plays a very big role in dividing people. And that's what's
But
currently
not
what's happening in the country.
my, my friend. I'm gonna agree with you and slightly also give a solution. Do you know what's the biggest problem, Stanley? You
Mhm.
do something phenomenal where you go around in Bontiville, you go around in places, the small businesses, sells the same blip in ice cream as you get in those expensive shops and stuff. With our people, a lot of times, and we speak about our people because we grew up with that mentality with color people around us. With our people, it's not just about we don't get to own businesses. When we were younger, the apartheid was done. We went to the parada, we bought Gatsby's, we bought everything. It was fun. It was unity. We were all there. Why? Because it was something new. We coming out of apartheid and stuff. We very young. We uniform. There was gangsters. There was gangsterism. Everything, but people supported small businesses, and this is coming the idea of ek wil wys ek is beter as jou. Ek wil wys ek kan nou kry wat jy kry, and the desires that others have also is now my desire. So now I go and buy stuff in expensive canal walk shops, or I go buy stuff in expensive shops that's maybe owned by blooming foreigners. We are the country, one of the worst in supporting homegrown businesses. Let's put it like that. No matter what color they are, we are the worst at supporting homegrown businesses. If you go overseas into Germany, if you a plumber, I employ that German plumber. If you have a German restaurant, we all fill up that restaurant. It happens well in Stellenbosch, though. I'm telling you now, the mentality is different. But if you go everywhere that has good businesses, it does not happen that well. I'm telling you now. It's not that full. One or two or three is maybe successful, but there's many that fail because of lack of support. And of course, everybody want to experience something different, but that support is gonna lack in the end of the day, and we bring in a lot of foreign money, and our money gets weakened by the day.
I agree with you 100%. Money goes out of our communities. We support, who do we support? We support Nike, we wear Nike brand, we wear Adidas, we wear all those expensive, and we go to these expensive places. Because of brands, because of we've been indoctrinated that certain brands are better than other brands. Now we invest in it. We only wear the best. But yet we're making the people that make those brands, we make them rich. They don't invest back into our communities. And En when do die waar kom die in, waar kom die in nou soos hulle sal nog miskien sal vra, where does this come in when it comes to the looting of South Africa? You know what happens when there's no money in communities? People go out of their communities into other communities to go and loot. That's exactly what is happening. So we need to bring that money, that independence into communities. If you build proper houses for those people that looted, if you give them jobs, some of them will take the jobs, some of them won't take the jobs, but the majority will. If you give them that empowerment, you won't have a problem with looting anymore because now they work for what they want. It's up to us to change that mindset. It's up to us to make a difference. It's no you. Yes, we're gonna vote for a new government, but the problem is still gonna remain with me. I have to go to my family. I that have a little bit of education, and I must go talk to my cousins and to my nieces, and do we even tell them, look here, this is the way forward, and that's exactly where we as colored people lack. That is the one thing about it, is that colored families is very divided, and that is also where our power has gone missing over the years, because that is how they have sort of split us over the years. Die familie bly daar so in die Atlantic, die familie bly daar so in die Blue Downs, and that is how we ended up. So we need to go back to the beginning where they threw us in different areas, on the Cape Flats, and go back to our community, to our family. Let's start with our family first, and once we fix our families, then we go out there and we go fix the communities.
I'm saying you spot on. I just said Daniel said something here from YouTube side. He said, like South Africa now, people are scared. People are scared for their lives and their businesses, and they're also people that are looting, that have nothing at all and are looting out of desperation. Daniel, you've just summed it up so well. That yes, both sides are scared, and this is the way the messed up thing comes in. And now is the time to stay calm minded, and it's a difficult thing to say. I battle so many things in my life also, and I don't need to speak about it. But you know how calm mind helps you, even if you're gonna have to protect your house or whatever. But those tyrants are coming in now to swoop in. They're gonna make this economy so-called stronger now. They're gonna be there for you now. Be you whatever DA follower, AF follower, ANC follower, they're gonna come and enable you now. Say, yes, we're gonna stop. DA members might come now. We're gonna stop these looters. We will take it. We will make it right. Even like the president now said, he needs to say those things. He can't speak straight out like he wants to speak out. You know, he is scared to exactly say what's on his mind because he needs to follow a protocol to keep himself rich, keep the people rich there. Because unfortunately, we live in a time where people are the most selfish. We are in COVID. People are dying day in, day out. Some people say it's a conspiracy. Some people say yes, that, but people are dying. We see it. I've lost family members. So have you lost friends and family members? People that's watching this watch. But yet the greed in this life, especially in this country, because of the poverty and of not knowing money, it makes people so fearful. And when someone is fearful, they shoot, they come, and they do things out of fear. Everybody is reacting out of fear now. The people that's shooting, the people that's looting, everybody is doing out of fear. Some of them don't have a conscience because some of them are just doing it as an act of gangsterism in between. So again, I'm gonna ask you very carefully. If we come close to the end, I'm gonna ask you very carefully. Be aware when your president of whatever party comes to you and sells you something now. They're gonna sell you another dream, and it's gonna seem lucrative, and you're gonna stand by that movement. I'm not knocking anyone. I named only the big parties because they are the ones long in control, and they are the ones unfortunately benefiting the most.
I just want to read something here by Latando. Unfortunately, our country has been pretending to be something that it's not since '94. I say this because, as people, we've never confronted and addressed some of the injustices of the past. Correct, properly address them. I agree. Not to move forward in pretense. Black plus colored men said the solution to our problems lies with you. Our communities are in the pits. That is well said. We never addressed things. They had that thing where they what that after what's his name, that they spoke, the reconciliation thing. They had that,
Mm.
but it didn't really give people answers to to their injustices. And
Mm.
that is where the problem was, because a lot of the normal people down here were sort of, yeah, it was mostly the people with the names like your Mandela and those guys, the big people, the people's names
Mm.
that it was out there, it was sort of reconciled. And I think, we're gonna if we're gonna fix this country, we're gonna have to go back to where everything went wrong and fix that. But
Mm.
whoever's gonna take over, it's not gonna be a walk in the park. Don't let anybody fool you about fixing this
Mm.
country. You're gonna have to fix what the ANC messed up. You're gonna have to fix what the DA messed up. You're gonna have to fix what the NP messed up. So whoever's gonna take over, they're gonna have to have a lot of, zoals sê, baie hare op hulle tande, because a lot of things
Yeah.
has, because you know what? First of all, our gutter education, if you compare it to certain areas now, was much better than what we're having now. I mean, you have areas where people can't even go to schools because the buildings is falling in, fall in Makan. You have areas where people can't walk anymore. I mean, go to Menenberg, wherever. It's sometimes it becomes a war zone, and things like that is kind of have to be fixed. So everybody comes and we can. They're saying it with the mouth. If a party can't create jobs now while they're not in power, how are they going to create jobs when they're in power? That is my question, my other question.
Exactly. You made a valid point there. Another question I want to ask you quickly. Imagine Stanley, jou ma is miskien 'n cleaner geweest because our parents grew up like that. My pa het gaan paint while hy 'n job gehet het and by sy colleagues, people that was his colleagues in the past in the years to bring extra cash. He went to go paint, to go clean, to get a little bit of extra money, take stuff out of there, they give it to him, that's the leftovers and stuff like that. That's we know, we grew up like that. Now, think how I'm lucky enough to know that my dad never came home. He always had respect for people. He never influenced our mind to think this way or think that way. But I have friends at households I came into where the mother was a cleaner. She comes home from work. Her house is very small. She look in very voordeur and uit by die agterdeur. That's how we grew up. She look in very voordeur, uit by die agterdeur. But the house she goes and clean is can put about 40 of her properties on it, just in the house, and then she still has there's still a 2-3 acres. Dink jy nie hy mense gaan terugkom en kom praat van they mistreated me. This is years of trauma that's going on here,
Yes,
and now you must understand this happening to
yes.
these people. Now you go sit with your leader, someone that you look up to. Yeah, they sien hoe treat hulle jou. You see how they treat you. People need to take in perspective. It's people that doesn't have a sense of what they're doing. They have been brainwashed. We watch stuff how people get brainwashed. We know how someone can brainwash you, even in the relationships, if we want to go there. How your partner can brainwash you. Imagine over years of thinking that you're entitled to something. How is that going to make you feel?
Baron, you are saying something very interesting now. Now my mother did, and I think I said this with you. My mother and her sisters and her mother and her sisters lived in Constantia. So the one day my mother's aunt went to school, and then she couldn't go to school anymore. So her white friends now, or they sort of threw them out, right? So now a few months later, the friends that she played with at school, her white friends, they go have she have now to go work in Constantia. So she's not allowed into Constantia to go live there. She's allowed there to go work. But the same girl that used to play with him, my auntie, my great aunt, must now clean the house for him. She's now a maid. Many years later, she works for him. And I think that was also trauma that was also sort of sent down to the next generation, because we were done a lot of injustice, because you lived in Constantia and then you were removed from Constantia, and you can only go back to go work for the people that you've played with. So in other words, you were now actually told you are not good enough. You're not good enough to to live there anymore, but you're good enough to work there. And there's a lot of trauma that was sort of passed over from generation to generation. I do understand it, but we also need to heal. When are we gonna heal? Byron, myself, and you, we come from that background, but we see things different. We've worked hard. We have found ways to sort of help ourselves over the years to get past certain trauma stages, and we have done that. And this I want to encourage the other people also out there. We can blame government for so long, We can blame families for so long, but we are also going to have to take ownership because you are responsible for your own healing also. The way it looks now, we might not have an election soon because people are fighting to keep the elections, delayed maybe till next year or so. But I want to talk to our people. Stop waiting for government to fix things. Let us start fixing things. It goes back to us, parent.
Before we end off soon, I wanted to. You said something now there where you said we need to change, but stand. And I'm not going to cover for whoever is poverty stricken. I would like to think I have been given the advantage to be in a proper environment. Even though I grew up in the Cape Flats, my father's exposed me. My people that supports me exposed me, and I would like to think the same with you. You've been exposed to different mindsets of the people that lives around you, or stuff like that, which gave you the advantage. I would like to think. Maybe I'm wrong. Like to think we also need to check our privilege because Lathia and I was speaking about now the other day. We grew up in the same road, right? But Lathia was so protected that she doesn't even know what gangsterism is like because her father kept her in the house. Now I knew exactly what it's like because it was a buitekant geleidie. I went out and I was outside. I was always outside. The two different lives, and we grew up in the same road. You get what I'm saying? So we need to count sometimes our privilege also as to how we can heal ourselves and how we manage to heal ourselves like that because of the information that was given to us. It's very unfair of us to be like that and say, like, yeah, people need to heal themselves, people need to do that stuff. We as a community, as what's the name said now, the Nicole Milan said, we need to become an independent. It's the way forward. The country needs to be independent. I'm not going to say Western Cape because that's also segregating. I'm going to say now the country needs to become independent and stand strong behind each other because to build forward as an economy. But here comes my point. We need to count our privilege when we speak about healing and we speak about mental health because exposure is very important. Some people might only be indoctrinated and brainwashed all their life, never exposed to what they can achieve, but just follow me and you will be liberated. Every day, that's in your head. Follow me and you will be liberated. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
I do agree with you, parent. So I just want to say something quickly. Yes, some of us our situations are different, but I want to tell you this. I have a father that finished school. He was still at one, and he was grade three. My 10-year-old son is higher educated than my father. My mother finished at four. So they didn't have education. Education wasn't important, but my father was good with his hands. He could build whatever he could learn fast. And he tried his best, he tried his best. Although he comes also from a family, you must remember, like a lot of my family members come from the slaves. So we have a lot of integrational stuff that also come from there. But my father tried to give us the best, and he did. So we could move now from Parkwood to Grassy Park. It was not the best, but there was a library. There was certain things that we could have access to. So a guy was still at one, and personally, I had to learn to fight my own demons, if I can put it like that, because I had uncles, and I wrote about this. My uncle was a it was a session to one of them. I had cousins that was 27. I had gangster family, and I also had family that are preachers, that are people that serve God, and I was also stuck in between. But at the end of the day, Byron, I do understand not everybody's in the same situation, but you are responsible for your own growth. We need to realize that you make the decisions. People you can also have the best schools or whatever. You can still mess up, but at least let us strive. Let us strive to be better individuals. Stop breaking each other down. This is exceptionally big amongst the color people. We like to break each other down. We need to stop that as well. But man, we can't fix all this in one conversation. We're gonna have to talk about this in the future again. But this is just how I feel, and that is the thing. We're gonna differ on certain things.
Yeah, thank you. And again, thank you for always having me on. I'm sorry, last week maandag was ek uitpype.
Let us
That
start. Let us
medicine took me
start.
over, and next week is again chemo for me. So I might not be on. So I'm pre-warning you.
Okay. Cool, cool.
But yeah, man. And what I want to leave now with today, we spoke about this, and I think we had a very fair discussion between the two of us, and there was very fair comments. Some was a bit rowdy, some was a bit out there, but I want to say today, Stanley, and I want to tell you also, thank you so much, and I want to say to you that's watching also, Be safe. It's unprecedented times. It's not just this pandemic. It's not just the going on in the country. People's losing jobs. Everything. I don't know what's going on in your mind. I don't know what you're struggling with. I don't know what you're going to struggle with. But the cliche saying goes, take it one day at a time and move forward. And I would like you to do the same thing. And I don't know if you have religious views or feel strongly about something, but just keep that faith and keep going and keep fighting.
And I want to say thank you very much, Byron, for being here. I know it's a difficult time, but we're also thinking of you, and the fact that we can still, talk and still chat with our people. I think that is the main thing. I believe that simple solution starts with chats like this, talking about things that really matters. Because sometimes we tend to ignore the important things. So thank you very much for joining us. And ek is nie die perfectste mense, Byron. I will always say that, like I say, we come from a background from the Cape Flats where there's certain things that we lack, but we try and educate ourselves as men, as fathers, as leaders, and that is how we
That's right.
become better individuals. I just want to say something here, just end of the show with this. Mona says it very well. Together we're stronger. Unity is
Mm,
always the answer. I agree with you. With unity, we need to realize that we are going to be different. We are going to have different opinions. But
mm.
the vision should be that we will stand together and fight for what is right in our communities, in this
Exactly.
country. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, Byron. Thank you so much for joining me. Guys, have a
That's
lovely, lovely evening and goodbye to Cal from Athlone. Lekker aan, broertjie. We ons maak weer so môre aan. Cheers, guys.
See you, man.